The morning of September 11th, 2001 changed America forever. Thousands died in the attacks, and Osama bin Laden became the world's most wanted man. But after the shock faded, anger and determination took its place. For years, the hunt for bin Laden became an obsession for the United States government. He disappeared into the hills of Afghanistan, then melted away into the shadows. Year after year, the CIA and military chased rumors. They searched caves, bombed hideouts, and questioned prisoners. Every lead seemed to vanish into thin air. People began to wonder, would bin Laden ever be found? The man who caused so much pain seemed to have disappeared completely. In Washington, each new president promised to catch him, yet he stayed silent and invisible. He became a ghost, a symbol of the enemy America could not reach. But the search never stopped. Behind the scenes, analysts pored over every detail, every whisper, every clue. They knew that somewhere bin Laden was alive. All they needed was one solid lead. For a long time, the CIA chased the wrong trails. They looked for bin Laden himself, but spies learned something important. He never used phones or the internet. He trusted only a few men, especially his couriers. One name kept coming up, Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti. He was careful, but sometimes people talked. Over years, bits and pieces about him reached American spies. They learned he was close to bin Laden and that he carried messages for him. The CIA followed every clue about the courier. Where did he go? Who did he meet? It was a slow, patient game. Nothing happened fast. Each new fact was checked, double-checked, and added to a giant puzzle. Finally, in 2010, the CIA tracked al-Kuwaiti to a quiet city in Pakistan. He drove a white Suzuki. He visited a strange high-walled house again and again. At last, the hunters had a real target. Abbottabad was a peaceful city, home to soldiers and families. But hidden among normal houses stood a strange compound. It was much bigger than its neighbors, with 3 stories and high walls topped with barbed wire. CIA agents watched the house from afar. They saw the courier come and go, always careful, never staying out for long. The people inside never went to work or school. They burned their trash instead of leaving it for collection. There was no phone or internet connection to the house. The more they watched, the stranger it seemed. Who were these secretive people? Why such high security? The CIA set up a safe house nearby. They watched for months, taking photos, counting visitors, and noting every detail. Inside, they saw a tall man walking in the courtyard. He never stepped outside. Could this be Osama bin Laden himself? It was the biggest lead in a decade. The compound didn't fit with the rest of the neighborhood. Most houses in Abbottabad were open and friendly, with kids playing outside, but this house was different. The walls were 18 feet high, and there were 2 security gates. Few visitors ever came or left. Windows were covered, blocking any view inside. The top floor had a balcony, but it was shielded by a wall. Even the trash was burned every night, nothing left for anyone to find. Neighbors whispered that the family inside kept to themselves. They bought food in large quantities, but nobody saw them at local markets. Children played only inside the yard. To the CIA, these details screamed hiding place. They believed someone important lived there, someone who feared being found. The question was it really bin Laden? In Washington, top advisors met in secret rooms. The information was strong but not perfect. What if bin Laden wasn't there? What if the mission failed? The risks were huge. Pakistan was an ally, but they had not been told about the plan. If something went wrong, there could be a major crisis. Some advisors wanted to bomb the house from the air. Others feared this would destroy all evidence and maybe kill innocent people. Another option was to wait and watch longer, but that meant losing the element of surprise. A small group argued for a raid by Navy SEALs, a team that could go in, confirm bin Laden's identity, and bring back proof. It was risky, but offered the best chance of success. President Obama listened to every opinion, weighing the cost of failure. Finally, Obama made his choice. He ordered a secret raid by the SEALs. The mission would change history if it worked. The Navy's top SEAL team, known as SEAL Team 6, began to train in silence. They built a replica of the Abbottabad house in North Carolina. Night after night, they practiced every move, landing helicopters, breaking through doors, clearing rooms. Secrecy was everything. Only a few people knew what the mission was. The SEALs worked in the dark, learning to move fast and quiet. They carried special weapons and wore night vision goggles. Every detail was planned: how to land, where to enter, who would lead each team. If something went wrong, they practiced how to escape. They even prepared for the chance their helicopters might crash. The men were nervous but ready. For them, this mission was the reason they trained so hard. Soon, they would fly into danger, carrying the hopes of a nation. Late on May 1st, 2011, two Black Hawk helicopters lifted off from Afghanistan. The SEALs sat in silence, faces tight, hearts pounding. The pilots flew low to avoid radar, skimming over hills and villages. It was a dangerous trip. One mistake could ruin everything. As they neared Abbottabad, the lead helicopter hovered over the compound's walls. Suddenly, trouble hit. The air was hotter than expected, making the helicopter hard to control. The pilot fought to keep it steady, but the tail dipped and hit the wall. With a jolt, the chopper crashed inside the yard. No one was hurt, but the plan had changed in an instant. The second helicopter landed outside the walls, and the teams leapt into action. There was no time to lose. The SEALs moved quickly, adapting to the chaos. They blew open doors and stormed into the house, ready for anything. The hunt was on. Inside the compound, the SEALs split into teams. They moved fast, clearing each room with military precision. Children and women screamed in panic. The SEALs shouted commands, searching for threats, but avoided hurting anyone who wasn't armed. They found the courier and his brother. Both tried to fight, both died in seconds. Upstairs, the team raced to the top floor. Heartbeats thundered in their ears. This was where they believed bin Laden was hiding. In a dark hallway, they saw him, tall, bearded, and shocked by the sudden attack. He was not armed, but he did not surrender. In a flash, the lead SEAL fired. Bin Laden fell, dead. It was over in moments. The world's most wanted man was gone, and the dream of justice for 9/11 was suddenly real. The SEALs quickly searched the rooms. They found computers, hard drives, and stacks of documents. These could hold secrets about Al-Qaeda, future plots, and bin Laden's network. They stuffed everything they could into bags. Down in the yard, the crashed helicopter was a problem. It was top secret, filled with technology the United States did not want anyone else to see. The SEALs packed explosives around it and blew it up. Flames lit up the night as parts of the chopper burned. With their proof collected and the evidence destroyed, the SEALs gathered at the remaining helicopter. They carried bin Laden's body, carefully identified by facial scans and photos. They had done what many thought was impossible. Now, they just needed to get out alive. As the sun began to rise, the SEALs and their prize lifted off. The helicopter raced for the border, flying low and fast. Everyone watched the skies, tense for any sign of Pakistani jets or soldiers. Inside the cabin, the team sat quietly. Some stared at bin Laden's body, still shocked by what they had done. Others clutched the bags of evidence, knowing the secrets inside could save more lives. The flight back to Afghanistan felt endless, but finally, the helicopter landed safely on friendly ground. The SEALs cheered in relief. They had escaped without losing a single man. The mission was over. The world would soon know what had happened that night. Back in Washington, the news raced through the White House. Geronimo EKIA, enemy killed in action. President Obama gathered his team. The room was tense, faces pale with shock and relief. Late that night, Obama stepped before the cameras. "Tonight," he said, "I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden. Around the country, people poured into the streets, cheering and waving flags. The mission sent a clear message. Justice could be found, no matter how long it took. Operation Neptune Spear became a legend, a story of courage, patience, and the power of teamwork. The world felt a little safer. The hunt at last was over.